I'm Polina Solda, creator and host of a Meet and Marry Mr. Right show. I created the show so that you can stop attracting the wrong man, wasting your time, and getting hurt in love. I know that once you put into practice what you learn in the show, you will get on the path to meeting and marrying your Mr. Right so that you feel safe, loved, happy, and fulfilled. Now, let's dive into this episode.
I'm super excited to welcome Cheryl Besner. Cheryl is a renowned dating and relationship expert who went through a divorce and then she leaped into the HR industry, which really stands for Heart Relations. She became a certified coach and then she launched her radio show called Solo in the City. And most recently, she's spreading her brand of love on Voice America, the sexy lifestyle news station called Pillow Talk with Cheryl. I love that name. So welcome, Cheryl. So
Thank
good
you. Yes, and the name says it all. It's all about the conversations that we have in the intimacy of closed doors, under the sheets. And think about it, when we were kids and little girls, we had slumber parties, and that's where we talked about the boys. And, it all happens in that intimate space. And I want to bring that to people and have you join me every week for those intimate late night conversations.
Beautiful. Well, I want to hug my pillow right now. I just hold it because we're going to talk about it.
Grab a glass of wine, have your partner beside you possibly, because the conversations are just about relationships and communication in general. And
yeah,
is where it all starts, right?
Right, and we'll definitely cover some of the pillow talk topics. But first of all, the question I ask every expert on our show is, so for every woman watching and listening right now, what are the top 3 things she can do right away to get on the path to meet and marry her Mr. Right?
Well, first of all, I think you have to know, it's actually part of what I call How to Become Your Own Matchmaker. It's a 5-part series. But the first thing is knowing exactly what it is that you need in your life. And I don't say want, I say need. So I call it the LVG, your lifestyles, values, and goals. If you don't know those things, you do not know the partner you really need in your life. And that goes through self-exploration and taking time, if you've never been in a relationship, to really decide, why wasn't I, and what is it that I want and need in my life in a partner. And then the other part is your values. What is really important to you? And I don't just mean monetary things. I'm talking about your deep-rooted values. Is respect high on your list? Is honesty? Is it money high on your list? I mean, for some people it is. So know what your value system is, because those things don't change. Your basic values are born and bred in you, and they've what you've developed. And if you are a single woman out there, you should know those things. And then your goals. Do you want to be married? Do you want to just live with somebody? Don't have surprises for the other person. If it's marriage, say it. Don't hide behind, I'm okay if we just live together. No. Be very direct. And men like that. So that would be like the first thing. I know it sounds like 3, but that's your LVG is number 1. The other part is to make a pact with yourself. And that's another one of my programs. The pact is plan, accountability, coaching, and your team. And you have to have a pact with everything in your life, not just your love life. Anything that you want in your life, make a pact, and you can keep making them over and over again. But you have to have a plan. You have to have accountability. You have to have a coach and a team behind you. And then the last part is love your life. Okay? Don't create a life that the other person wants. Love your life, because if you love, for instance, tennis, well, if you're playing tennis and you're out there doing that sport, or biking, or dancing, whatever it is, well, the chances are that you'll meet the person that will really fit into your world, in your world. So go out and love it. Find those things that you want to do. And if you have a dream that you wanted to become a cook, go take a cooking class. Start really doing it, because one thing that men love is a woman who has passion, who has a life. They don't want to be your life. They want to step into your life and witness your life and be part of your life. And that's what you want from a partner, somebody you can be a partnership with. And it doesn't mean you're going to like all the same things. What it does mean is you're going to have certain things that you can do together. And that's all you need. You don't have to be, perfectly matched in everything you do. It's okay to have outside interests. It's actually exciting to have outside interests. So again, become your own matchmaker, make a pact, and love your life. Those are your three.
Yeah. Great. So I love how that was specific, right? It's exactly something that, okay, this is what I got to do. So how, for a woman who's thinking, well, how do I become my own matchmaker? What's the first step? What is something that anyone can do?
So each of those things, by the way, are some of my signature packages and a part of what I do in my coaching practice and the workshops that I lead and the retreats that I lead. How to become your own matchmaker. The first step is LVG, lifestyle, values, and goals. The second one is make a pact. So it all works into it. So we make a plan. What is it that you want to do? The long-term goal, and then we bring it back to 3 months. Okay, well, what's the first step? So for instance, in that you want to meet somebody new. Okay, the plan is I want to meet somebody new. So what am I doing in my life today? What is it that I can do differently? And what's really interesting, oh, sorry. Sorry about that.
Okay, we'll cut that.
Yeah. Sorry, we'll cut this out for a second. I told him, and I don't know why it's coming up on my computer.
The best thing to do is to put your phone on the airplane mode.
My phone is on airplane mode, actually. That was on my computer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So
no worries.
I'll go back to it. So making a pact, having a plan. So for instance, if you have a goal to be in a relationship in 12 months from now, what you want to do is say, what am I not doing now? I'm not getting out there. So how do I start getting out there? Let's make it small. For some people, they're not just get on a dating app, even though it's a great idea. It's what can I change tomorrow? So I go to the gym. I never meet anybody at the gym. Well, I go at 9 o'clock in the morning. Well, can I go at 6 o'clock at night? Little baby steps to start changing up your everyday routine brings a whole new group of individuals into your life. So definitely making a pact, loving your life, doing the things that you love to do. The other thing is become picture perfect. And when I say that, I'm talking about really getting your profile. And the first part of your profile is branding yourself. Who are you? How do you like to present yourself? And always putting the best part of you out there first. It's not okay to just say, people, I hear this all the time. My clients will come in and say, I was told to just be me. I have to be authentic to me. Well, yes, but authentic means we all have good days and bad days. Is authentic when you step out today going to show that you're in a bad mood? Because if you're going to show that authentic bad mood self, that's not going to win you any popularity. So about going out there and presenting the picture perfect you in these kind of environments. And it doesn't mean you have to be at the hairdresser every day. It doesn't mean you have to be at the barber every day. It doesn't mean that you have to, be wearing designer clothes. That's not what I mean. I mean putting the right attitude into your step, the right smile. They say a smile is 1,000 words. And the fact is, if you smile at somebody, they're going to smile back. And when you get that smile back, it makes you smile even more. So one of the things that I always have my clients do is in the morning, I tell them to go to the mirror and say, good morning, 3 times in a row. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And usually by the 3rd time, they're laughing just at the fact that they did that. And that changes your whole attitude. So that picture perfect is about the whole picture, your whole attitude, putting it out there really well. And then you have to learn to vet. The process means not wasting your time. None of us have time to waste. Our days are valuable. Going back to love your life, we don't know what's going to be around the corner for us. So don't waste your time. If you know that you, for instance, I have a client, she's a lawyer. She doesn't want to date a lawyer. I understand that. She says, like, I need freshness when I come home. I don't want to discuss our law cases. It's exhausting. She's done it. She doesn't want to do it again. Now, I mean, that's a general statement to say I don't want another lawyer. But if that's what you know you don't want, don't date lawyers. Like, don't go out with lawyer after lawyer after lawyer, because it's the same pattern. Change it up. So it's the same thing if you know that you cannot be with somebody who can't stay up past 8 o'clock at night. That's me, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a night owl. I need somebody who can participate with me and go out at night and enjoy and go for walks and late night talks. If somebody wants to be home at 8 o'clock, it's not going to work for me. That it just doesn't fit my lifestyle. Again, we go back to the beginning. Like, everything is interconnected. So you go back to lifestyle. My lifestyle is I'm an early riser and late to bed. And there are ways in which you can do things. So if you like to watch TV late at night and your partner doesn't, it doesn't mean it's out. It means that's where you find your compromise. You, in today's day and age, wear headphones to watch your TV while the other person sleeps. So there's compromises that we can make to facilitate when all our values are the same. But know what it is you need in a partner and vet and move on quickly.
Great. Yeah. So I love how practical and how really it's about taking baby steps. It's very simple. It's shifting things, every day you could do something differently based on what you're already doing and create completely different results, because you're going to meet different kinds of people, or just like all together, you're going to have a different experience, right? Even if you go and you do the same place, right? So just changing the time or changing the location, right? Maybe it's still a gym, but it's a different kind. It's a different neighborhood. It's a different brand. And then it's like a whole new world opens up.
Exactly. Well, it's interesting because every time I meet with a new client, or when I at a retreat, I might have 30 women for a weekend. And when we start talking about, well, I never meet anybody, one thing that comes up is they have not changed their daily routine in years. And then I can just suggest well, would you consider changing your tennis club? Would you join a different bike group? Would you join a meetup group? And just little suggestions, and all of a sudden you can see the sparks start to fly. Like, you start realizing that there is so much opportunity out there to change your daily routine. And again, it doesn't have to be big. I mean, for some people, they go big or go home and they just jump into the whole thing. I believe in baby steps, because I think when you take your time to do things properly, you build your foundations, and the same thing within a relationship. So
great. And Cheryl, I love what also another very practical thing you shared, that what your clients do in the morning is just basic. You do that self-love, greeting yourself, right? Because if you think about it, if the first person you greet is your doorman versus yourself, is like, well, who is the priority, right? So putting yourself first. And so if we're talking about self-love, what do you see, like, your experience working with women, some of the biggest challenge, biggest struggle around loving yourself?
Well, I think that a lot of women, and it depends on the age group, but what I see is a lot of women have either thrown themselves into, especially I think women who are coming out of long-term relationships. There's an identity loss for a lot of women, and they might be very successful business women and have their families, but they don't really know necessarily deep down what it is that they really need in their life versus what they needed when they were 20 or 30 and starting. So to me, self-love is taking the time to be very reflective. And that's one of the reasons that I host retreats, is that I like to take women out, and men, but I predominantly work with women, take them out of their everyday existence, even for 48 hours, 72 hours. It doesn't have to be a full week. But when you take yourself into that space, you really discover who you are, and ask yourself some very deep questions. And there's different processes that you can do. One of the things is always finding out, what is your fear? Like, what is your fear about moving forward? And any woman who says they have no fears, I don't believe them, because I have fear pop up all the time. The difference is that I know how to deal with my fear. I face the fear. Fear is false evidence of actual reality, right? So break it down. But then there's things that you can do with that fear to change it into something very positive, you know, facing what it is, you know, evolving, being there and articulating what it is that you want and actually going after it. And then realization of what it is that you want. So it takes time to do that. And you'll see that within a lot of cases and a lot of relationships, people who jump into something very quickly, sooner or later it catches up and then you become reflective again, you know. So I always suggest take the time, you know, at the beginning, settle things down, settle yourself down. I wrote a piece when I was first started my blog, 365 Days to Find Love, called The Fear of Flying Solo. And for anybody out there, go onto my site, CherylBesner.com, and read it, Fear of Flying Solo. And it's about, you know, taking a flight by myself with my family and this one-way ticket to what I thought was forever happiness, and having a crash landing, which was my divorce, and the destruction and everything that happened from it. But it's a very positive piece. And it's about realizing you had to get off this deserted island and go back to safety. You need to see what's around you and be aware and take everything into consideration. Otherwise, there's too much fallout, you know. And I think that we as women are such nurturers. Sometimes we forget to nurture ourselves, and that's a very important aspect. And I think the second one would be that a lot of women feel that they want to not be considered needy. That's a big one. You know, we don't want to present ourselves to men as being needy, and we don't need a man. And that's one of my favorite things when a woman comes into my office, and a lot of very successful women from all over the world have crossed my path, and they go, I don't need a man. And I go, guess what? Two. You need one and two. There is a need if you want to be a couple. So yes, you do need a man. You don't have to be needy for a man to need a man or a partner if it's another woman. You do need to be two to have a partnership. So yeah. I put it out there right away. You do need that other person
to have a relationship, right? With someone else, right?
But you don't have to be needy, and that's the difference. So
right.
I hope that answered your question and gave you something to think about.
Yeah, so I love definitely that. So a lot of women can relate to the identity. Really, when you, especially when you come out of a relationship, and maybe there's certain roles associated, like being a wife, being a mom, and then if it's taken away, or being a girlfriend, or something like in a long-term relationship, and then all of a sudden, when it's kind of stripped away, like, well, who am I? What am I about, right? And I love that the self-awareness, how important, how you start with that. And I also, when I work with my clients, start with self-awareness, like really, like what is holding you back? Like what are the fears? What are the blocks? What are the stories that you're telling yourself, right? So that you can start uncovering that and working through that and actually be able to move forward. And I love that question. So again, the question is, what is my fear about moving forward? So for everybody to write it down and really be reflective, right? Because that's where you self-love. You take the time, you create the space for yourself, right? So let's talk about. So you said about. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one of the things that I have. I use a lot of drawing, and I also do a lot of movement because I do what I call body talk yoga dance, and sometimes in the dance or in drawing, like drawing out your fear, like actually drawing it out, giving her a name. Or him a name, like if the fear is male, because remember, that's the other part is we have a male and a female side. And a lot of women, I also find now with the empowerment, and I'm all about women power here, that also show our feminine side. And we think because we put on a dress, we're showing our feminine side. And I can tell you that we can put on that dress and still come off like a man. And the last thing a man wants is another man in their life. So, I want to put it out there also to find that balance. So draw your fear, give it a name, and then put it up on your wall. Like, look at it and go, well, that's not so scary anymore when you see it.
And so just to clarify, you mentioned there is a masculine and feminine. So are there two different sides of fear? And you could give some examples of maybe your clients, like actual names given to a fear and how they came up. Like if you could just share maybe a story.
Well, you know, what I'll do is I'll put out mine. So my fear was very much the, the like this double side of who I was, that because I'm very playful, and I thought it was a bad thing. Like it had almost been drilled into my head that this playful side of me was not necessarily good. And so I drew this fear that somebody else was going to be afraid of it, you know, and it ended up that the name was Stella, and it ended up looking like, you know, that Stella, the car, the devil car. I happen to drive an old car. I happen to drive a 61 Cadillac, like it's this big convertible. And so my fear ended up being like this monster head, but that had this like fearful look to it. And I realized that it wasn't like, why should I be afraid of that side of me? I am fun, and I do have a devilish side to me, but it all works together. You know, that's who I am. And so somebody who's going to be with me, and I know you asked for clients, but I always prefer to give my own example, exposing my clients, is that's what helped me realize when I was going through my process. And it's always a process, by the way. You know, I'm always looking at who I am and what it is that I need in my life at this point. Was Stella there? And Stella was that devil car, and that's strong, but she also is loving and kind, and I wasn't afraid to show her. So Stella was always there. I still refer, I actually call my Cadillac Stella, because it's a version of me. But the fact is, every time I go out in Stella, everybody smiles. Like when they see my car on the street, everybody smiles, and so there's good in that. So
yeah, and so that is a fear that it could be fear of a part of you. What about the fear that like kind of external, that fear of getting hurt or fear of being rejected? How do you express that artistically?
Yeah, so that part of fear is very real to everybody, and getting hurt in a relationship, well, it hurts, you know. Yeah. But the fact is, if you don't take risks in life, nothing happens and nothing is set in stone. So going forward, when it comes to relationships, I suggest if you hold on to that fear, it's going to stop you. And that's actually one of the main stumbling blocks for most people who have come out of long-term relationships. That's the biggest fear, of getting hurt. But if you sit behind that, you're never going to come forward. And that's one of the key ones that I work with people on, is to take those risks. And it starts from taking little risks to just saying hi to somebody, to build and build, because the option is that you're not going to end up in a relationship if you hold on to that fear. And by the way, if you don't deal with that fear, it shows. Men know when you're holding back. There's an intimacy that you won't cross. And until you cross that, they don't attach the same way. Just the way you won't attach until you overcome that. And it's not up to the other person to help you over that fear hurdle. Because the fact is, if you have this fear inside of you that they're going to leave, that you're going to get hurt again, nothing that person can do is going to take that away. It's not up to that person. They can support you as much as you want to be supported in how you live your couple life. But if you hold on to that inner insecurity, that's you. You have to own that. And it's a process. And there's ways in which you go through that process. But you have to get to that point, because otherwise, again, that's what's going to come across. And you're not going to attach to the other person, and they can't attach to you until you get into that intimate space. And I'm not talking about pillow talk here. I'm talking, I'm not talking about just communicating. I'm talking about getting real with that other person. And the worst thing that's going to happen, the worst thing, is that you're not going to see that person anymore. But then you'll take a lesson from that relationship. And there's always a reason that somebody comes into our life. And there's always a reason and something we learn from it. And that's what's important to take forward, is that lesson. And then don't make those same things come up into the next relationship. But if the underlying is fear of relationship, you will keep bringing it relationship after relationship after relationship, because it's part of you.
That's so empowering, because it's really like it's all within yourself, and you don't need someone to rescue you like outside, like some men just to show up. You can do this process. You can go through this work and learn the lesson, right? that has been given to you like really so many times, and once you learn it and really you master and you get to like be real, then your experience in relationships will shift, right? And we see so many examples, like your clients, our success stories, people. Yeah.
So many times when I was writing my original blog, 365 Days to Find Love, and I was talking about relationships, and even afterwards, up until a few years ago, I've been divorced for 8 years, and I'm in a 3-year relationship now. But during that time, I had my heart stepped on many times. And I was a relationship coach during this time. Like I knew, and I was learning, or I became a relationship coach in that like 4th year. But I was learning about myself. I was learning about relationships, about communication. And like I said, women always come up to me and go, "Oh, you always know what to do." And I went, "Now, but not then." I learned this. Like, we think that we just know how to date. We don't just know how to date. It is not something that comes natural to us when we haven't dated in 20 years. I mean, it's just not. The most important thing is to be naturally ourselves and know who we are. And then it becomes a natural thing. Yeah. But I had my heart stepped on. But each one of those times I was like, okay, what was the challenge here? And what am I going to take away? And with each one, I learned something. And if you apply the lessons, then you develop, then you evolve. And that's why I come to the E in fear. Evolve, take that fear and make that E something positive.
Great. So for women who want to take it to that next level and learn more about your work, I know you have a special gift. If you could just very briefly share what it is.
So what I want to offer the ladies today is I'm going to do a Facebook Live event that they'll be able to join. And it's going to be Have Them at Hello. So that's a 6-step process. And it's about how to enter a room, whether it's a boardroom, your first date, or an event where you might meet somebody, and have the conversation in the palm of your hand.
Nice. Love it. Okay, we'll make sure everybody gets the link. And of course, as we've been talking about, what is the lesson? Like, what is the biggest takeaway, most valuable thing that you want every woman to walk away with from our conversation today, Cheryl?
I think the most important aspect, and one of the things that I love is whether I'm doing my radio show or speaking at a big event, I always hope people take one thing away, and everybody might take something different from today. Love your life might have influenced you, how to become your own matchmaker. But to me, the most important aspect is the pact. Please make those pacts with yourself, whether it's making a pact to how to become your own matchmaker, whether it's making a pact on learning the best 3 steps on a first date, whether it's learning about how to make the picture perfect profile. Make a pact with yourself again and again and again. And remember the key letters, PLAN. Plan, accountability, your coaching, and your team. And that would be the thing that I hope you can start working on right now. You can take out a pen and you can start working on those things.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl. It's been a pleasure to be talking to you, and really appreciate your generosity and all of your wisdom.
Well, one of the things that I think that as coaches we should all do is just put it out there as much as we can. I mean, this is what we want to do is set for me, it's setting a light on a path that I've already gone down, and hope make it a little more bright and easier to follow for other people who are walking that path with us.
Beautiful. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Wow, wasn't that incredible? I just love how every episode has so many nuggets of wisdom that can transform your love life. So if you want to own this episode and go deeper, I invite you to get the VIP access package. So I've designed it so that you can not only own the entire season of a show, but you can also accelerate your success in love through my life masterclass, 8 hours of advanced training and dating strategies, plus secret bonuses that I had put together for you. And you're going to get a love breakthrough call with my team so that you can create greater clarity about your love vision, uncover some of the hidden blocks that might be getting in the way, and create a customized actionable plan for moving forward so that you know exactly what you need to do next to create the love life that you want. So to get this package, simply click on the link below that says get access now, and you'll get all of it. You'll own the entire season for a lifetime, plus all the bonuses worth over $2,700, yours for just a tiny fraction of it. Consider that an investment into your future. And I will see you on the next episode of a Meet and Marry Mr. Right show.